In the first act of the play, Barbara promised to visit her father's factory if he will visit the Salvation Army shelter. So, as promised, Andrew Undershaft pays a visit to the Salvation Army shelter. So now it is Barbara's turn to visit her father's factory. So Andrew Undershaft comes to pick them up, and the entire family makes their trip to the factory. Before paying the visit, Barbara imagines the factory to be a sort of pit, okay, where workers were forced to work in pathetic condition. But on their arrival, they were so surprised. Perivale St. Andrews is a spotlessly clean and beautiful model town with every possible social benefit for the workers. So, Barbara's imagination proved to be false. She imagined the factory to be in a very pathetic condition where workers would suffer and be forced to work. But to everyone's surprise, it was just the opposite. At the factory, Undershaft has created a little paradise for his workers, and not only for his workers, but for their entire family. Adolphus was so impressed, so he exclaimed that everything is perfect. It only needs a cathedral to be a heavenly city instead of a hellish one. Okay, the factory had nursing home, libraries, schools, and other facilities for the workers and their children. Everyone in the factory looked happy. Everyone was well fed. And we later find out that Peter Shirley remembered the man who came to the Salvation Army shelter because he lost his job. Peter Shirley. Okay, we later find out that he also found a job at the factory. Lady Britomart, Stephen, Sarah, Lomax, and everyone else who came that day were impressed. Later, we come to know that Adolphus, the soon to be husband of Barbara, is an orphan, so he is eligible to inherit the business. So, in this way, the undershaft fortune will be kept in the family. Mr. Andrew Undershaft says he saw poverty, misery, cold, and hunger when he visited the Salvation Army shelter. Everyone looked so depressed when he came there. But here at the factory, he says, he offered real salvation from the crime of poverty to his workers. Everyone is well fed and well clothed in the factory, unlike the Salvation Army shelter. At first, Barbara was hesitant to join Adolphus. She couldn't understand how she will do charitable work at a place like the munition factory. But finally, she made her decision to follow Adolphus and settle down with him in Perivale. She is now determined to continue her work of converting the well fed workers at the factory instead of the starving poor. She finally understood that charitable work can also be done by people like Bodger and her father because they are all part of the reality of life. So, this is how Major Barbara comes to an end.